One's ready. One's ready. Go! So you guys are going into Special Warfare Assessment Selection. It is an attributes-based selection model. What does that mean?
Guys, are we running right now to get fitter? Or are we practicing running? Practicing.
Right? I can't freaking...
So there's a holistic picture that we're looking for. The instructors are giving you input, and we're expecting an output. And everything is for a reason. If you guys haven't heard my spiel yet, everything that we do, every single exercise, has a connection to the job that you're trying to do. We don't want people at INDOC, Special Warfare Assessment Selection, whatever they're gonna call the new course when it inevitably changes somewhere down the road. I don't care what they call it. What I need is you to show me the raw materials for the things that I wanna build you into. Just like everything else, it's a crawl, walk, run.
I'm running Keysler just like this. All the way to ATC, you never quit. All the way to ATC, you never quit.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the One's Ready podcast. You're in the team room. Team room.
That was
Team
scary.
room. Yeah. Well, you got me yesterday, so I figured I'd just
Got me.
scare you today. So, but yeah. Hey everybody, before we get into that though, would love for you guys to head over to onesready.com and then check out some of our merch that we have, right? In fact, I'll go there now, not just peruse it, but yeah, we got all kinds of stuff. In fact, if you guys want to sign up for the Operator Training Summit in Nashville, we still have slots available. You can actually do it straight from here. But then we have the Midnight Hammer, Make Aspect War Great Again, the Hero 2.0. We've got slaps and all that kind of good stuff, making grids disappear, all this kind of good stuff, right? You got some little Guardian Angel action there. Also, if you go up to the top right-hand side, you hit prep and then partner discount, scroll down, you're going to see our boys over at Accolade. If you want the gear that you're going to use in the pipeline, you may as well train with that stuff before you even enter. So you can get your rocket fins. If you're going to buy rocket fins, make sure you get Booties because those are important. And if you're going to be in the pool doing underwaters and everything like that, you should probably be wearing Booties anyway because it sucks.
It does suck. I think that should be the standard. We brought that up. That was a good idea. And I wish I came up with it myself, but I didn't. So I can't take credit for this one. But if you guys are doing water con training, if you guys are doing mask and snorkel, underwaters, drown proofing, all this other stuff, you should be training in Booties. It should not be slick. You should have your Booties on. You're going to be doing that in the actual Special Warfare Assessment Selection. The Booties stay on your feet. Like you're going to have them on. So you should have those bad boys on. And for the days that you don't have them on, because crawl, walk, run, progression, man, it's just going to be good. It's good training. It's extra resistance. And then you're not like freaked out by it when you actually get to that point. Because the first time that people put Booties on in the water and you have those two little sea anchors on your feet, you're like, what is happening? Why can I not swim?
That one kick. And you're like, I didn't go anywhere.
Wait a second. Maybe do my underwaters suck? Yeah. Am I not good at this?
But if you guys want a discount, look, I've hyperlinked all these, okay? There's no One's Ready promo code. You click on the link and then it generates a coupon for you. And there you go. Just make sure you don't have pop-up blockers enabled. And yeah, then you're good to go. Get yourself a discount.
One'sReady.com really is the home base. Every time I used to tell people individual accounts or I'm like, just go to One's Ready. Just go to One's Ready. It's got everything on there. It's actually a good website. It's not bad considering we've had to build it 5 times and we failed 10 times. So,
oh boy. Yeah. Okay. So I had, I work with predominantly officers where I'm at. We do have a decent size enlisted contingent, but it is predominantly officers. And then a lot of them are officers in their career where when they're that 04 major or 05 lieutenant colonel, they get selected for school or they get the opportunity to then go be a air officer commander, which is like an ROTC detachment or U.S. Air Force Academy kind of commander. Those and for all the O's out there and the cadets, I'm going to use the wrong language because I did not ever attend our Air Force Academy, but or your whichever one you. So I'm going to get some of the verbiage wrong, but it was highlighted to me that from a recent visit from some of the alumni that some of the AOCs are getting really, really trigger happy with letters of counseling and letters of reprimand. And there's concerns there because when you hand it out like candy, you diminish what it is actually for and what it actually means and what it can do. Especially when you come in out of the academia and you come into the real world. A lot of the enlisted folks know an LOC and LOR for an officer, that's a major deal. That is
An
almost,
LOR will end your career.
yeah.
An LOR will cancel your entire career as a captain.
Yep. Or if you're a lieutenant colonel and you get an LOR, you'll lose command.
Can't command.
Yeah. I mean,
It's a big deal.
yeah, it's a massive deal.
Yeah.
It's a little less of a deal on an enlisted side of the house, but nevertheless,
It's not I love the difference in this. And Yusafa, I'm going to use the wrong language. It's not because I haven't gone to your school or I'm not aware. It's because I don't respect you as an organization. Just wanted to get that out there. LOCs and LORs. So we're going to talk about progressive discipline. And the way that we're going to connect this to all of you folks that are listening, that are about to get in here, is we need you to be leaders. There's a difference between a leader and a manager. Okay. So when we talk about the Air Force has a program and it's progressive discipline, the idea here is that you correct behavior all along the way using ever increasing methods of punishment. It goes from just talking to somebody all the way up to Article 15 procedures, which are like going to court in the military. That's essentially what it is. For those officer candidates out there, we need you to be so good and so trained and so emotionally intelligent and so professional at your job that you're able to guide somebody through those to correct their behavior long before it ever gets to Article 15 procedures. There's going to be times where people do terrible things and they make terrible mistakes and they deserve an Article 15, and the UCMJ provides for that. Okay, so let's exclude that whole group of folks. But what we're talking to you officer candidates about is you prepare for this journey. And Peaches is going to tie it in sort of from the back end here of what we're seeing as the output and a trend that we want to correct. So if you look at this from an inception sort of thing, this is mentorship inside of mentorship to correct mentorship that's happening with the meta mentorship up top. So we're 2 levels deep, brothers. That's what we bring to you on the podcast. So let's talk about progressive discipline. As an NCO, as an officer in the pipeline, you're going to have to deal with this. The bare bones minimum here is that you try to correct somebody's behavior by taking them aside. And the first thing that you have to do is you have to establish clear boundaries and expectations. Mm-hmm. This is the number one. Every single unit has an OI. Every single unit has a first sergeant. We have things that we know that are inherently understood to us, like things in the UCMJ or rules and regulations. I should never have to correct a young airman about their uniform because there is a regulation, AFI 362903, unless it's changed, that tells you exactly how to wear your clothes. And it tells you how to cut your hair, and it tells you what kind of makeup you can wear and what kind of nail polish you can have on and all the rest, right? So you shouldn't have to correct somebody on that. But every once in a while it happens. Yeah. Somebody likes to roll their sleeves up. Somebody spends too long before they get a haircut. Somebody comes into work and they didn't shave. I got it. It's annoying. But the answer isn't to just fire paperwork at them and say, well, you knew better. You have to pull that person aside and go, hey, did you understand the rules and expectations and the boundaries that we have set on this thing? Do you understand now that you're outside of those rules and regulations? Okay, I need you to fix it. But more importantly, I need you to learn from this, and I need you to not make this mistake again. Mm-hmm. That's the bare bones expectation. That's just being a good human. The civilian world is no different. Yeah. If somebody comes into work late once, you don't dock their pay for the entire day to start. You don't ruin their entire career. You don't fire them from the organization. You look at that person, you go, hey, it's 8:35. Work starts at 8:30. You pulled into the parking lot at 8:34 and you clocked in at 8:30 on your way in because you do it via an app. So you can't do that, bud. So let's not do that again. And the point is to get the person to correct their behavior. The point is it's not punishment. Article 15 is punishment. The only thing that you're doing inside Article 15 is you violated the UCMJ or laws in some cases, laws in most cases, and we're going to punish you for that. That Article 15 proceedings are punishment. They're taking money. They're taking your freedom. They're adjusting your work schedule. They're doing any number of things all the way up to taking your liberty, right? Everything south of that, everything underneath Article 15 procedures is meant to correct the behavior of the person that you're talking to. So, Peaches, what's the problem that we're seeing with LOCs and AOCs right now?
Well, it's if I'm gonna tie it to, monetary value, it's inflation is really what it is, because you're putting so much of it out there, so much corrective behavior or correcting paperwork, that you're diminishing what it actually is. So, and then people just will scoff it and then not realize, oh yeah, this actually impacts my career. And it's not just the people that are receiving it, the people that are giving it. You could just go hard to the paint as a lieutenant or a second or first lieutenant or even a captain, bef- before you realize, like, oh man, maybe I don't need to give out all this paperwork, because what you're really doing, or what you should be doing, is spot corrections. Exactly what, like you said, spot corrections. You were late. Okay. Then the next time that person's late, it's like, hey, dude, is everything okay? Like, what's
Right.
going on? What's like, let's sit down, chat. I mean, is there stuff at home? Do you have car issues? Like, we had a national anthem singer that was late to two of her like rehearsal things for an event that we were having, and she was having car problems, but she never told anybody. Like,
Right.
she just like, no kidding, she was broke down on the side of the road and had to Uber in, and she ended up being 10 minutes late because she had to get the Uber. Like,
Mhm.
dude, tell us,
Right.
um
Well, and by the way, leaders, everybody getting ready to go into these positions, the airmen aren't going to tell you. They're going to I have a million stories bouncing around in my head of talking to folks and going, hey, what is the deal? Why do you keep doing this? And they have these massive problems. And the conversation immediately turns into, bro, I can help you with those.
yeah,
Do you need me? There's a million programs and vehicles that I can use to
yep,
help you get better here, all the way from if you're having problems where you can't pay your rent because you got too much debt, or you did something silly with your money and you need help, there's ways to get you a little bit of extra money in your paycheck.
hmm,
There's ways that I can give you time off work. I can get you help from the squadron. I distinctly remember a time, one of the funnier stories from the 321st, a couple of bros, they were doing the right thing here and just trying to save a little bit of money. So they had a bunch of dudes that were living in the same house and saving a little bit of money on that sweet BAH, here for it. But two of them were deployed and their house flooded. The entire unit, to include the wives, showed up to take everybody's stuff out, get it dried out, talk to the landlord. The unit will help you out. You got to tell us, though.
yeah,
And this happens in the pipeline too. If you're having problems at home and you are not focused at work, you're forgetting stuff, you're not following directions, you're not completing tasks that you're supposed to complete because you're honestly so mentally focused on your other problems, you got to let somebody know. You got to say, hey, this is a thing that's going on with me. I'm just working through it. They can help you out.
yeah. But we can't help if we don't know.
Right. And it's too late when it gets to that point. We're talking about LOC is letter of counseling, right? So in progressive discipline, it should be verbal counseling, and there's a little bit of nuance here in how many times you verbally counsel a person. So we're gonna frame this as clearly as we possibly can. We're gonna talk about one issue. Typically what happens is it starts raising up that chain towards the Article 15, like as you get further and further up, when you're talking about one issue that you continue to repeat. If you come in late for work for one day, and then the next day you have a uniform violation, I'm not going to sit down with you and talk about the uniform violation and go, well, you were late to work yesterday, you wore your uniform wrong today, therefore I'm going to punish you more for this uniform violation today. You have to treat them almost as separate things.
Different infraction.
It's a different infraction. Sometimes it speaks to your larger person. If it's everything all the time, then maybe you're not assimilating to the Air Force, or maybe you just can't figure it out.
Yeah, the whole point is, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
It's okay. It's okay. We're just, I'm trying to like lay it out so that everybody can understand.
The whole point. Yeah, you nailed it earlier when you're saying that these are corrective behavior measures. These are counseling measures. Letter of reprimand, letter of counseling, letter of admonishment is what I left out as well. So
Yeah.
letter of counseling, letter of admonishment,
LOA, right?
letter of reprimand.
LOA doesn't get used a whole lot.
No.
If you
It's
get
LOC,
an
LOR.
LOC, LOR, yeah, and LOR, letter of reprimand,
Right.
yeah.
The
LOA
whole,
don't see a whole lot.
other than correcting the behavior, what you're also building is a repository of paperwork, so that you can deny somebody reenlistment or kick somebody out of the Air Force.
Mhm.
That's really what it's for.
Right.
In the end, first step is corrective behavior. next step is we're denying your reenlistment, booting you out of the Air Force.
Right.
Because if there's no paperwork when it comes time to like, dude, we got to get this dude because it's a simulation or not a simulation, a simulation.
Oh, it's a simulation,
Yeah,
brother.
I mean,
If you want to go down that rabbit hole, we are living in a simulation. It is all fake.
it sure seems like it at this point.
It is not real. I got to be honest. This timeline, if it's not a simulation, I'll be more surprised. Yeah.
So yeah, we're trying to create a pattern. Now, we are not trying to create, we are trying to highlight a pattern so that we can say, okay, this person should be retained by the Air Force, this person should not be retained by the Air Force, and then we can see it later. Because if we can kind of cut out some of those, for lack of better words, those cancers, like it's better for the Air Force. And oftentimes it's better for the individual, because I tell you what, if you cannot assimilate and you're just in miserable conditions, or not conditions, but just in a miserable mind space because of the Air Force and because you've been thrust in, dude, it's not good for you either. So we're trying to do you a favor as well.
I've been counseled a couple times, and let me tell you, the mental stress of walking into that, knowing you're going to get yelled at, knowing you're going to get in trouble, and then the natural things that follow. You walk out of that room, everybody knows that you just got counseled. Everybody knows that you just got in trouble. It's a whole thing, right? That's not good for your mental state either. But it's a choose your own adventure, both for the leader and for the person going through it. That whole process is meant sort of to shame you into doing the right thing. It's giving you negative output, and you look at that negative output and you go, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
So you don't do that again, right? So when you start talking about the bare bones here, progressive discipline for you leaders that are going into this, and specifically those officers, because it's really important, you have to be able to establish those clear boundaries and expectations, make sure everybody understands the rules. And from there, once you establish those, you can use that kind of as your first counseling. When you go to a new team, when you show up at Special Warfare Assessment Selection and you're a cross-trainee NCO, or you're a lieutenant, or you're a brand new person that's just going to be in charge of something, you can sit down with the bros and you can go, hey, these are the things that I don't tolerate. Every single brief that I would have when I would take over a new team, when I got into leadership positions as a flight chief or an op soup, I would sit down with the people that I was in charge of. As an NCO, you're in charge. As an officer, you're in command. And I would say, here are my red lines. You can't do these things. You can't drive drunk. You have to show up to work on time. You can't manage your relationship with alcohol poorly. You can't get in trouble domestically with your spouse or with females or males in the inverse. You can't do those things. Those things immediately are going to put me up into a much higher category of how we're going to talk about it and what we're going to do there. But outside of that, this is my left and right limits. This is what I expect of you. Here is what I'm going to do if you don't do that. And everybody should be able to understand exactly what I'm going to do. Being a leader, one of the best things that you can be is predictable. If your subordinate, if the person that you supervise knows exactly what the penalty is for what they're about to do, they will roll that into their calculus, and they'll see that as risk. They'll go, okay, if I do this thing, Aaron is going to do this thing. And can I tolerate that thing? Am I willing to accept that risk? They should be able to understand what it is that the rules of the game are. So
Yep.
You always start with that. And you can use that as kind of your first counseling statement to everybody. Here's the rules. Here's the team rules. Here's the rules of the squadron. Here's the rules of the Air Force. This is what we're going to do as a team. From there, any one of those infractions, usually that deserves a point-to-point conversation. You showed up late for work. You didn't shave your face. Whatever. Fine. Don't do it again. Hey, and for leaders, there should be a clear path to getting well. You're not just bringing somebody in to yell at them. Sometimes you are. But you should end that session with going, okay, we talked about this issue. I told you how it's not acceptable. Don't do it again, or I'm going to do this. Don't do it again, or else I'm going to do this. And we're going to continue to progress through this model.
Yep.
It's not just throwing an LOC at somebody. An LOC is a written statement, a written record of counseling. They're seen differently on the officer and the enlisted side. I will tell you, from the enlisted side, people freak out about LOCs. LOCs aren't that big of a deal. They're really not. An LOC is, Sometimes your supervisor got super mad at you. Yeah, you screwed something up more than once. You knew better. The LOC is just, hey, buddy, I'm telling you for sure, I took my time to write this silly form. And by the way, they're highly formulated. There's certain statements that have to go in there. There's a way that you write paragraph 2 and paragraph 3.
You were hereby counseled.
You are hereby reprimanded. You're hereby reprimanded. Here's the rules that you violated, right? And you have to sign it. You're typically the supervisor signs it as well. And then depending, that thing either goes into your file at the squadron, or sometimes you can go, and I've done this as a supervisor, and there are some people out there, there's some Air Force folks out there that don't like this, having like a desk LOC or a desk LOR. I had my own filing with my own troop, and there were definitely times where I brought somebody in and was like, hey, dude, here's the level of seriousness that I'm taking this. I'm going to write this LOC. We are going to go through the entire process formally, and I'm going to hold on to this bad boy for 6 months. And if you do this again, I'm going to file this LOC with the squadron, and then the commander is going to know about it, and the first sergeant's going to know about it, and everybody in the organization is going to know about it. And then I'm going to continue with this progressive discipline model. It's a nuance. It's a way to do it. I think technically people say that it's illegal. Oh, you shouldn't do that. I get it. There's nuance to everything.
Well, that's because during the previous administration, it was enacted that you had to, any kind of paperwork like that, you had to send to legal and provide demographic paperwork on it, because they were, the previous administration was saying that the Air Force and probably the DOD was there was a disproportionate amount of discipline and counseling that was going on.
There's not.
To which
I'll just tell you, there's not.
Which that ended up not being true. But
right. Shocker that would be not true. But that's what you're supposed to do. What I'll say about LOCs and LORs, if you default to an LOC or an LOR, if that's your default mechanism, you're just lazy.
And you have nowhere to go after that. Like,
and you don't.
After that, it's boom. Article 15.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to go.
Right. Yeah. There's no way to correct the behavior. You give somebody an LOC. There's always 3 sides to a story. There's your side, their side, and the truth of what really happened. And when you just formalize a piece of paperwork and you don't really take into account what that other person said, just throw an LOC at them and file it with the squadron, and then it follows them for however long via control roster or via unfavorable information file, which every squadron has a file of unfavorable information, and this fits that category. You can really hamstring somebody, and you can really undermine your own leadership. Now, some folks might say, well, they see that I'm a serious leader. They know that I'm going to involve paperwork right away. But that doesn't open up conversation. That doesn't make them want to come talk to you when they are having problems, like actual problems. That just makes them want to avoid you. Yep. It just makes them want to avoid the consequence. That's not the point of progressive discipline. It's to correct behavior. It's to stop them from doing it, to get them to do it on their own.
And sometimes doing things like smoke sessions or something like that.
Yep.
Extra PT is
positive output punishment.
There you go. That's what I know there was a correct term for it. Or
I'm making you stronger. I'm reinforcing through physical means.
That's right.
The rules and regulations of the squad. Maybe you got to bang some gates, man. Maybe you got to run some towers. Maybe you got to put your kit on, and we're going to go for a little walk, and we're going to talk about what it is that you're supposed to do. That's a part of progressive discipline. Whatever you need to do, there's a million tools at your disposal here where you can help reinforce the lessons you're trying to make. You don't have to involve the Air Force in everything. I had a great leader. We would have things happen, and every once in a while he'd be like, well, you don't have to tell dad about everything. And what he meant was, we're kind of like the older brother. We're the uncle in this scenario. And you got in trouble, and sometimes your uncle doesn't tell your dad. Sometimes you get in trouble with your parents, and your dad looks at you and goes, bro, this is a deal. We're not going to tell mom about this, but this can't happen again. You don't have to tell dad about everything. I like the fact that you can have, that makes your relationship as the leader and the follower stronger.
Yeah.
It gives the follower good input and good examples that you are there for them. You're trying to help them out. But sometimes you got to pay the man. Sometimes you screwed up.
Sometimes you do. And those are actually, I think, the more memorable and the more core memory then. And like, I remember probably not every single one of my smoke sessions that I've been, hey, I did this wrong, but I don't remember any paperwork, and I know I've gotten it. I just don't
Right.
remember what it was for or anything like that.
I actually have an opposite example, and this is a good time to talk about the other side of the fence. I was a young senior airman. I had my packet in to go to spec war. I was ready to cross train. I was doing well. I left a building unsecured one time. It's too dorky to explain. There's huge pumps that draw pressure out of the altitude chambers where I was working, and those pumps are cooled by water. The hose has to go outside. We didn't have a drain inside. The hose has to go outside the door. As I was shutting down the section for the night, I forgot that I had left the hose in the door. The building was unsecured. My chief walked in, and at that time, I was making a bunch of dumb decisions. I was a young 23-year-old at the time, 24-year-old maybe, senior airman, living in the dorms, not managing my relationship with alcohol appropriately. We were having dorm parties. We were doing dumb stuff. It was just dumb young kid stuff living in the dorms. Got it. My chief actually gave me an LOC for that. And he brought me in, and the way that he framed it is he looked at me and he goes, and Chief Busby, famous, he was a very well-known physiology, like a phys tech chief.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome dude. His wife was awesome too. His wife, as I go on this tangent here, his wife actually taught me. I was always complimented in my military career how well I wrote in the military world, like the military way that you write. Reagan Busby taught me how to do that. She was amazing at it. She was so good, like from reports and whatever else. So they were a couple that worked together at the same base. So I worked for both of them. But Chief Busby sat me down and he goes, I hate doing this. I don't want to write you an LOC. But at this point in your career, you need to know how serious it is, and you need to turn this crap around. You need to figure this out. We're going to go through the whole process here. And I think for him, I think he gave me the bro good deal of, I'm not going to tell. He was a master sergeant in the unit at the time. He was like, I'm not going to tell the chief about it. I'm not going to tell the commander about it. But you screw anything up, and this immediately goes to them. That, I remember specifically that turning something in my brain that made me go, I have to take this seriously. Because it showed that he cared enough to bring me in, sit me down, go through the process, tell me what it was, establish clear boundaries and expectations, give me a way to get better. But then he had that extra little stank on it of, I'm serious about this and I want you to change your behavior. And if you don't, you're going to fail. That was exactly what I needed at that time.
How much trust did you have in him after that?
I love that dude.
Right?
I still respect that guy to this day. To this day, I still respect that guy. He was one of those guys early in my career that truly was a mentor and gave a shit about me.
Yep.
And it was great.
Bill Adams, Wild Bill Adams.
Bill Adams.
Same way.
Yep.
Same way. Yeah. Just.
Oh, and he would jump up in your, I was on the receiving end of a Wild Bill Adams ranting one time, and it was not good. I'm going to quote my friend Matt Champagne here. I walked out of Wild Bill Adams 3.5 pounds lighter than I did when I walked in, and 3.5 pounds is the weight of a human soul. Because he absolutely just snatched it right up out my body. Like Denzel said, I'm going to snatch the life right out of you. Wild Bill Adams snatched the soul right out of me. And then as soon as he was done being mad at me, he's like, all right, good job. Go fix it.
Yeah.
All right, man.
What just happened?
What just happened? Like a flashbang. What just happened?
Yeah. And to the folks that, well, it's a weird thing, right? Because I'm going to talk out both sides of my mouth right now. I want people to push boundaries, right? Like I kind of expect it, right? I expect your sideburns to be,
especially in the special operations. Yeah, I know your hair is going to be too long. I know you're not, you're going to wear the uniform that's comfortable for you on the op and maybe not necessarily what we're supposed to wear.
Yeah. And I don't care. I really don't. I encourage the kind of boundaries being pushed, right?
Right.
But there's a difference between I'm going to try and work the system and get something over on you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference. And pushing the boundaries, having some long hair, like, okay, whatever,
Right.
That's not trying to work the system. Working the system is when you did it. Now you're lying about it, or you're playing dumb.
Right.
Like if you came and you had your sideburns, and I'm just like, dude, come on, man. We got comm apps that come by here, dude. What are you doing? like, and you don't get offended. You're like, all right, cool. Yeah, I got it.
My bad.
Instead of
Got
like,
me. Sure.
what? I didn't know that. What? Huh?
That's the annoying one.
You know,
there.
you're like, dude, come on.
The best one, the line where you should be with this is you should be right on that line. Somebody should come up to you and go, hey, man, are those sideburns too long? And if you look at me and go, hey, 362903 says exactly to the level line right at the bottom of the opening of my ear. I think that they're right there. You just won. You won that one. I'm going to give you that one. I'm going to be like, okay.
All
right. You know,
you know you're on notice though.
Right. Yeah. But
like,
also, you know that I know that you know that I know that I'm watching you. So just clean it up, brother. But that's where you should be in pushing boundaries. That you should know as a subordinate, you should know the regulation that you're in violation of or close to it. You should know that reg better than I do.
Yep.
And if you get to that, once you get to that point, and don't be a douche about it. Don't be like a barracks lawyer about it. Well, did you know that if you get put on quarters, technically they're not allowed to call you for 72 hours and you could blah, blah, blah. That's the too far. That's you being a douchebag. But if you know that regulation, if you know exactly, I used to say this to the guys all the time. I don't mind pushing the boundaries, but you got to know exactly what those boundaries are and where they lie. You have to know exactly what the rule is so that you know what you're getting close to pushing. But that's where you should strive to be. You should strive to be right on that line. You want to have your hair as long as it possibly can without being in trouble and you can justify it, go for it. But you got to know those rules in black and white 100%. And oh, by the way, sometimes it might not work. Sometimes I might just tell you, oh, tight. No, you're within regulations. Well, I can exceed any of them. Go get a haircut because you don't look professional. Go do it. Just like the Rangers do. Oh, is it legal for you in the Army to have a mustache? Is that in the regulation in the AR? Cool. Well, we don't do that here. So go shave your face, Ranger.
So I've told it before, but I'll tell it again because nobody watches the back catalog. My very first interaction with the Rangers was in 2002, and this was in Kandahar, and I was flying CSAR with the 53s. Gosh, I miss those birds. And we were sharing the same, like the special tactics had its own camp, home building, but within the other compound, which I don't remember what they called that compound at the time, but you had the 53s, the Rangers, all the air crew and that kind of stuff in there. And that's where all the showers were. And so I was showering one day and I've got a beard because I'm special tactics. That's what we do. Right. And this high and tight comes in, you know, I'm the only one in there. Right. And I just got out of the shower and it's the open bay tents and I've got a towel on. He goes, you need to shave that. Like, it just like he is. And I was like, nah. I was like, no, I don't. You know, he's in PT. I don't know who he is. Right.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm special tactics. I'm like, he goes, absolutely not. You will shave that. You are not leaving this tent till that shave. And I was like, okay, I'm not shaving this. Like, right. And he's like, all right, well, we're going to go see the colonel. And so here I am walking through the entire camp in a towel, right? Because he wouldn't let me get my clothes on, right? So I'm walking in a towel. And this is in the middle of the day. We go in and he wakes up the whoever the lead colonel was flying the 53s, right? And he's in crew rest,
right?
And this captain, Bo, sir, what are your airmen? And he's like, Peaches. I'm like, yes, sir. Sorry to wake you up.
Tried to explain it to him, wouldn't listen to me. And, here we are. Talk to him.
And he goes, Peaches, get out of here. You stay. Like, and I assume he berated him for whatever reason, right? Or not whatever reason, but I don't know what he said to him. But every single time I would run into that dude after that, he wouldn't even speak to me. He just fucking mean mugged me.
Just mad at you.
It was so good. But here I am just getting led by my ears, my figurative ears through the camp in a towel. Rangers, man. I love Rangers, but geez, dude.
My favorite story about that is we had a SAR security team in Iraq, and we were playing the Mustache game, and this is a good example. The end of this story is a good example for exactly how you're supposed to push the regulations and then what to do when you get caught doing it. The Rangers had mustaches. We all were playing the mustache game. The mustache game, the rules are you grow the biggest mustache that you possibly can until somebody tells you to shave it or calls you out on it. But we even had rules. It couldn't be just it couldn't be an E5 passing you and be like, hey, shave that mustache and then walk away, right? It had to be an E6 or above or an 04 or above. And they had to, no kidding, sit you down and then tell you directly, shave your mustache. And then the person with the last man standing with a mustache won. That was the mustache game. So the Rangers wanted to play. We knew, we were like, hey, if you can accept this risk, you guys know what that is. We were kind of they were on an island. There were no other Army guys that were there, just like Peaches and having our own. We had our own area. They didn't have to leave that area. They flew with us on missions. They were our team. So we told them, you can have that mustache. You guys can play the mustache game if you want. Well, about 2 months later, they walk in, the Ranger team leader walks in, and we were in the daily brief, and he looks at his team and goes, hey guys, bad news. First sergeant's doing a battlefield rotation through here. He wants to come talk to us. Got to shave that mustache. Funniest interaction of all time. Next day, the first sergeant shows up, walks into the stock, looks at us, looks at the Ranger guy, looks at the Ranger team leader, and walks over to him real close and looks at him and goes, why is your upper lip not as tan as the rest of your face? And Will just freezes. He just kind of looks at him. He goes, you had a mustache, didn't you? It was great.
That's a seasoned first sergeant right there.
All the Air Force guys were like, oh, well, I got to go to the gym. So I'm just going to get out of this room. And first sergeant, you have the room. Just do me a favor, shut the door, lock it when you leave. So during that, I was the last man standing with a mustache. And we used to go on field trips. There was a period where we got turned off from all operations. Some civilians, they weren't civilians, they were insurgents that had weapons. And then the propaganda campaign from this small village was that the Americans flew in and killed civilians with rifles. Oh. That's not what happened. But it shut down operations. Iraq was a weird time at that point. We'd have to talk to the Iraqi government before we were allowed to go action military targets. And then we'd show up to these military targets and I can't believe it. Nobody was there.
Dry hole, huh?
I know, dry hole every night. Yeah, crazy that these guys weren't there. They'd been there. We knew that they were there all the time. Their family was there, and they'd be like, "Oh, I don't know who you're talking about." Oh, word. Anyway, but there was a time where we couldn't even go out, so we would go on little chow hall trips. You always went to the closed chow hall because we were on alert, and you'd have to leave right away. So there was this one chow hall that we went to all the time, but the good chow hall was over by the jock. So the jock was where all the nerds worked, where all the high-ranking folks worked, all the bobs. It was nice and air conditioned, had a bunch of screens on it. It was really cool. But the nice chow hall was over there. So we'd occasionally go on field trips over there. So we go on this field trip. I'm in line. Some bald dude, PT gear, comes up to me. I think I was sitting down at this point. He looked at me in line, and then we're sitting down and we're eating. And he comes over and he sits down and he goes, "What's up, bud? Who you with?" And I looked at him and I was like, "Task Force White." He was like, "Okay, cool. Mustache game?" And I looked at him and I was like, "Yep." Because you can see it here. I have this weird thing where my face doesn't fill in. I can't grow a real beard. I get this real Joe Dirt sort of scenario that's going on right now, just right in this area. But I can grow a super cool Fu Manchu. I mean, it gets real long, like down this area. So I had a super big Fu Manchu mustache. Everything else was shaved on my face. And he goes, "Mustache game?" And I was like, "Yep." And he goes, "Okay, cool. Just do me a favor and shave it." I was like, "All right, gotcha." So we went back the next day. We weren't doing anything the next day. So we went to the good chow hall because might as well eat good. And I see that guy. Turns out it was a JSOC Sergeant Major from the Army Tier 1 unit. And he came over as we were eating. He came over and he sat and he fist bumped me. He was like, "Man, this is why I love you guys. You guys do great work. I want to say thanks. I know that I know we're not going out right now. I get it, but I want to say thanks for doing it." Well, all of his little lackeys saw him talk to me like 2 days in a row, and it looked like we were friends to them. So I immediately got clout with all of those dudes, like all of his little Surrey that would follow on with the JSOC Sergeant Major. They would come over to me for the rest of that deployment and be like, "Oh, what's up, man? How you doing, bud?" I'm like,
"Anything you need?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anything you need. I was getting an intel pack at one time, and I walked in and it was one of those guys, and he, no kidding, stopped what he was doing in the office. He was like, "Hold on, what do you need?" "Okay, yeah, no, we'll got it. Hey, can you get on the," okay. He stopped there. Yeah.
He's good. Come on,
hey guys. No, don't check in. You're good. You don't even need to write anything down. But that's
the line.
But that's, that was good on him. He said he knows the game. He didn't he could have done exactly what the captain did to Peaches and just been like, oh, you're a piece of crap and you're in trouble now and all this other stuff. You got to know the game. He knew what the game was, but I knew the game too. And that was the rules. Somebody comes over and they called you out and they said, hey, you got to shave that face of yours. All right. Yeah, got me.
Them's the rules.
Them's the rules, homie.
Well, speaking of rules, if you're going to get an LOC or an LOR, do a rebuttal.
Yeah.
Whether you were like, you're like, yeah, dude, I fucking own it. The rebuttal could be you going, I own it.
Mm-hmm.
Or the rebuttal could be, hey, here's some amplifying data of why I was late 5 days in a row or whatever it is, like always do a rebuttal and seek area defense counsel. That's the ADC for your lawyer type folk on the base when you receive an LOC, LOR, LOA, that kind of stuff. Always seek advice.
Right. Not from your friends. Not from
not from your friends.
The subject matter expert
he can't do that to you.
Right. The subject matter expert is not the guy that's gotten 5 LOCs and knows how to write them. Okay.
He knows how to receive them. He knows how to receive them once and report.
He's not the guy to help you out. I'm going to just be honest with you there.
No. So the other thing with the USAFA, the folks is, dude, I can't even believe that this is a promoted program. So you got 2 banks that are very, very well-known banks that offer basically a free loan. And I know that there's some financial people out here like, well, actually, if you take that loan, since it's basically free and you put it into a high yield, like,
that's not what the cadets are doing. The cadets are funding their summer trip. It's called the summer loan for a reason. They
are going out and buying Corvettes.
They take that bad boy and they're buying a Charger with it.
Yeah. Except the V8 Charger and not a V6 like the enlisted buy.
Nerds.
So you have 2 banks. Each one of them will give you a $36,000 loan, rather. So, $72,000 loan right off the bat before you even graduate. Like, this is when you arrive. They'll give this to you. Which is a bad way to just kind of start off your military career. It's like, boom, there's debt. And it's at like a 0.75 APR, and basically free, but still, that's not great. On top of that, and this is something that I kind of had an idea about, but I didn't know the numbers with. So forgive me for reading this, but there are consequences to not graduating. Obviously, you don't get a degree, you don't get commission, that kind of stuff. But cadets who disenroll may be liable for $416,000. $416,000 in repayment at a 17% rate. 17% APR, if not paid back in 90 days. 90 days.
Gross.
That's insane.
Stuff happens, y'all. Stuff happens at the academy. We have seen it time and time again where people find themselves out of the academy for good reasons, for bad reasons, for wacky reasons. People disenroll from the academy. You shouldn't be taking on extra debt, even though it looks like a sweet loan. I can't believe, isn't this predatory lending? Isn't that the term for what they're doing when you give a loan to a basic, it's a population of people that are held under very strict guidelines. I don't understand why it is that these financial institutions, and maybe there are some success stories out there of cadets that were like, I was able to put a down payment on a home and this changed my life and it was great. It looks like free money to college kids that are out on their own for the first time, and they're not even really out on their own. They've been held under the thumb of USAFA up there at the zoo, and they're never allowed to go out and exist in the world. And they're just like, hey, we're going to give you this free money. Sounds like a pretty good idea.
Yeah, it's wild. And the thing is about being disenrolled from the academy, you may not have any control over it either. It's not always behavioral. It could be academic. It could be
grades. You could just you could have a bad couple of semesters.
Yeah.
You could have a bad year where you have a bunch of personal stuff going on. You get into a couple of courses that are really tough for you to get. You hit that, whatever that line is at the academy, can't come back because of your grades. Now you owe $416,000 at 17% interest. No thanks.
Could be medical.
Right.
It's just a whole bunch. And then specifically here for juniors or seniors who leave, they have limited options. So potentially they could go get enrolled in ROTC and finish out. Like they could do a transfer. Sometimes they can go enlisted, and they won't have to have that repayment, right? Their service is the repayment. But oftentimes it doesn't mean that, oh, wait a minute, it does say you're still burdened with the loan obligations.
Even if you do ROTC?
Yep.
Get out of here.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
How is that legal? It's definitely not moral or ethical. If this was anywhere else, I mean, are there any other institutions that are, no kidding, aligned with colleges that will give 18 to 20-year-olds thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars?
Well, so I don't know about the Citadel, and I don't know about West Point.
I'm just talking about, what about UNLV?
Yeah.
Is America First Credit Union down at UNLV? Is this a program that they just run specifically for the college? Like, hey, no big deal. We'll give you a 0.75% loan and you can fund your summer shenanigans if you'd like in between when you get off and when you go to your first duty station. That seems wild to me.
Well, I mean, USAFA is a crown jewel of Colorado Springs. Like
the crown jewel. It really is.
I just went up
to that campus.
There.
Bro, that place is amazing.
Yeah. And then you got, and that's what the picture I sent you of, went and hiked Eagles Peak back behind the academy. And
did you end up doing the incline while you're out there? Good for you.
Dude,
my wife did it pregnant, like 6 months pregnant. No big deal.
That's crazy.
It was awful. It was not a good time.
Yeah.
She did not have a good time. About halfway up, it was the no kidding. She was just like, "Oh God, what are we?" I was like, everybody told you not to do this. I can't remember what we were there for. We went for her reunion. That's what we did. We went for her reunion. A bunch of her friends were there. We stayed with good friends. It was great. And that is a big thing there. The incline, the sports teams run the incline all the time. A bunch of people do it. It's a very popular hike. For those that aren't familiar, they basically cut stairs straight up the side of a mountain for a long way. I'll get some stats on it.
It's like just under 2,000, or maybe it's just under 3,000 steps, but it's railroad ties, and it's dude, it is awesome. Like talking to Taylor Starch, who grew up there, he's like, man, if you could just do the incline once a week, you would be in insane shape. But it is extremely humbling, because there were two people in particular that I remember that passed me, a man and a woman, that just passed me like I was chilling, just standing still. And then they ran back down, and then they ran back up again. They did it twice in a row, like back to back. And it was, oh my God. But it was amazing when I did it, because it was pouring rain, lightning hammering all around, because this time of year is really heavy in lightning in that area, or I guess a month ago. And and then running down, it was great. And then I ran into somebody that, like me as a drenched rat, recognized me from the podcast.
Perfect. So, that's possible. Let's add some cringe into this terrible physical event.
Seeing me just pain.
So some stats. Oh, hey, buddy. Hi, sorry, I'm about to puke. I'll take a picture with you. Can you give me a second? So the Manitou Incline, Colorado Springs, challenging hike. So it's 0.88 to 0.95 miles long, depending on who you're asking. They're approximately 20,000 or 20,000 would be a lot. 2,000 feet of elevation change. You start at around 6,300 feet of elevation. You end 2,000 feet higher than that. So you're ending above 8,000 feet. It's anywhere from 85 to 8,600 feet up there. Approximately 2,700 steps. The average grade is 41 to 45%. At the steepest grade, you get up to about 68%, and its round trip distance is about 4 to 5 miles long. That's if you don't do the descent on bar trail, which is what we did.
That's what I did.
Yep. Takes about 1 to 3 hours. It's rated as difficult or extreme. It's free. Pets aren't allowed on the trail. You can go have yourself a good time. It is a kick in the nuts. I will say that for sure. The walk down, it's nice. It's gorgeous. You get to see the entirety of Colorado Springs and the academy and everything out there. It's a great picture opportunity at the top. My favorite part about it is there's a little false summit You're looking up this entire time and you're like, there it is. I can, it's a long way away, but I can see it. That is not the top.
No, it's not.
That is not the top, ladies and gentlemen. You will go past that little thing and then you will continue to go up. You just can't see it from your vantage point as you're climbing up. And that one hurt. There were a couple folks that were hiking up there and we knew that it was coming. Tara, obviously has done it a couple times. I was smart enough to Google it and read it. And I was like, okay, cool. I understand that this is a thing. So I was mentally prepared for this. We hit the top and it's almost like a little landing. It's pretty big, probably like 20 meters worth of this landing that you walk across. And then you see the next set of stairs. There were some people on that 20 meters that were sitting down. They had their soul taken by the early part of that. They were not prepared for the second part of it.
I think that's the bailout point too, where you can actually
you can get off on a
bailout. Yeah.
Well, that's also where there's a couple bailouts. There's a couple sections where, and it's not many, it's maybe 3 or 4 the entire time, but there's bailouts where you can get off and take a trail that connects to the bar trail and you can go back down. So you can make the route a lot shorter. There were a couple there where I was talking to my 6 months pregnant wife and I was like, hey, we could go right over here. And she was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I was like, that's why I married you. That's it. That's it right there. She's like, absolutely not. I was like, you were 6 months pregnant, madam. She did not care.
That's actually what, like I said, Taylor Starch grew up there. We've been wanting to go to Colorado Springs. Mm-hmm. And he's like, dude, if we do one of these OTSs in Colorado Springs, he goes, we got to go do the incline. We got to go do it. We got to take the candidates to do the incline.
Have to. Yep.
All right.
I will be in the back with no weight on, and I'll just be making sure everybody's okay.
Yeah. Taylor and
I ain't running it. Taylor will run it. Like, have fun trying to catch Taylor up that thing. He's going to absolutely destroy you. Not me, bro. I'm going to be in the back smoking a joke, most likely with Trent making fun of stuff.
He's just up there trying to act like he can keep up with Taylor Starch.
Yeah, exactly. Just your little feet up those stairs.
Double for me. Those steps, no kidding. Some of the gap between those steps, not wide wise, but height wise, was like doing.
You have to climb up on,
like
right,
step ups, like on a box step ups.
Oh yeah.
Like, geez, man.
Well, and it's like an accordion. They're not all the same size stairs. So there'll be sections where the stairs are sort of short, but they're longer. So you're taking 1 or 2 steps on the railroad tie and then to get to the next one. But some of them, just like Peaches is saying, it's a box step up. It's like a 24-inch step to a 24-inch step to a 24-inch step. You don't need that in the middle. That is not fun to do. The altitude is a real thing. We came from sea level. I was living in Tacoma at the time. So it was sea level, brothers. It was 0 elevation. And you start that bad boy out at 6,300 feet. It was tough.
Yeah.
It was a good time though.
Yeah. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll get a chance to go out to USAFA.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work that right now. I emailed the dude that kind of runs the special warfare kind of gig out there. I think he's ignoring me though.
I think I don't have the guy that runs the special warfare program. I've got another dude. I have to remember. It's in my DM somewhere, but we've talked.
Yeah.
I know a guy.
That's
that
not
can
the
give
colonel though.
No.
Yeah. I emailed the colonel. I got introduced to him and then emailed him. He hasn't.
I got an enlisted guy. Don't you worry about it.
So enlisted guy, he wants to work.
He does. He loves it. See work, do work. And you shouldn't give that guy an LOC for wanting to see work, do work, at least not as you're starting going out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, we did kind of derail there, but that's okay. There's only so much I want to talk about LOCs and LORs. It's just that
there's only so much I want to talk about USAFA.
Yeah, well, there's that too. I do wonder how they
did win yesterday, though.
Did they?
Yeah. Army, my favorite. So college football started yesterday. The service academies played. Army won, Navy won. They both won in blowouts. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. The Air Force won. The Navy won. They both did so in blowouts. The Army paid some random technical school some ridiculous amount. I have to look. I want to say it was like $250,000 that they paid to go play the Army, and they got beat. They basically got beat by a blind academy for girls school. Just absolutely mollywopped the Army yesterday. It's been pretty funny.
Ooh, mollywopped, huh?
I do. Mollywopped is a good term. It's not used enough.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find this actual number.
So they paid them to play them.
It's the way college football goes, right? Like if you're a bigger program and you want to go play, the bigger school will pay the smaller school. So when you see Ohio State play Akron University or play Marshall or play somebody that's just not good as a football program, they know that they're going to get work. So the smaller school, usually in the contract negotiation, there's a dollar amount that's attached to playing that school. It's it's a thing that not many people know about, but it happens all the time. But this is what Army did. They were like, we want a cupcake to come out first game of the year. We're going to go play this smaller school. We'll give you this much money. And then they got beat. So love to see it. Let me look up and see how much money that was.
Yeah, I think I remember talking to the Tomahawk F-16 commander, and he was telling me about the Air Force Academy's F-16 or Viper uniform. Apparently, it looked pretty good.
It is. Yeah, no, the uniforms this year, I'll say the Air Force has done really, really well outside of just not $250,000 to Tarleton State. State. They won 30 to so Tarleton State won 30-27 in double overtime. The Army Black Knights paid Tarleton State $250,000 to get beat. Man. That's your tax dollars, folks, by the way. I hate to bring this up. Those are your tax dollars were $250,000 for the Army Black Knights to get beat in double overtime.
Oh, that's gnarly.
Yeah, sorry. I interrupted. What were you talking about?
I was just talking about the here's the Air Force uniform.
Oh, the Air Force uniforms from this year? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, those things are great. It got the Maryland on the back there, so that's the Maryland
tail
flag.
Flashes too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, we got the name tags.
Yeah, I'm here for it. The uniforms, the last couple, I was going to say that, other than, having an AFSPEC war uniform and not putting the pararescue flash on there, which is just stupid. But I'll tell you, the uniform variants that they've had, not mad at them. Mad at them at all. They've been doing great. They look good. Now, if they had a winning record, that's something that we could talk about, and they got to do that. Mountain West Conference is no joke, but yeah, these uniforms are fire.
That's just awesome that they got the tail flashes on there too. I dig that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the helmets even look like, so scroll back up. The helmets actually look like a flight helmet.
Yeah.
See, it's got the visor on top of it.
Yeah, with the visor. And
Here for it. Here for it. Those are badass. Good job, Mustafa. Guys. You did that. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, you can't
the good
see
peaches
the
giveth and the good peaches taketh away.
Taketh away. I do like the little, it really is the multi-role and the blue collar fighter. I'd say the A-10 and the F-16 are the blue collar fighter of the Air Force, without a doubt.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's if you consider an A-10 a fighter. Really, the A is attack, but so yeah, it's man, good on them. Good on them.
God, I'm so happy that the Army just absolutely got crapped on by Tarleton State. I didn't even know that was a thing. I couldn't even pronounce. I don't even know where Tarleton State is.
Actually, I don't know either.
$250,000 to get beat. Hilarious. Take that, nerds.
Tarleton State, Texas. Tarleton State Texans football.
Texas.
Oh, man. I mean, decently high scoring game too. 30-27.
30-27, yeah.
And that went to OT. Oh, double OT.
Double overtime, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was great. Big upsets yesterday. So Ohio, it technically wasn't an upset. Ohio State was always meant to win, back-to-back national champions inbound. But they beat Texas 14-7 at home. That game was I'm joking about how excited I am about that win. I don't want to aggrandize that win in any way. The game was clunky to watch. It's two great defenses. Typically, offenses mature a little bit after defenses do. Your defense in camp, defense is exactly the same. Offense takes a little bit to get everything together, get the playbook together, get people working. Texas's offense and Arch Manning were terrible. Ohio State's offense and Julian Sand were just marginally better than terrible. So that's why they won. They won 14-7. It was a pretty boring game to watch, honestly. It's two great defenses and two underperforming offenses at the Ohio State. But Ohio State, technically the number 3 team, beat the number 1 team at home like they're supposed to do. Bama, the big story of the day. Bama was ranked number 8. Bama is who Bama is. They've had a dynasty the last 20 years. Every single conversation about college football is Bama. Florida State at home, unranked Florida State, mollywopped them. Absolutely dog-walked them. I was watching that game down at the in-laws' house. They had some family in town, some extended family. So like my son's great uncle. So my in-laws' brother and sister-in-law were in town. So it's, grandparents, brother and sister. But they are Florida fans. But because they're Florida fans, if FSU is on, they're going to watch FSU. They play each other at the end of the year. That's just how it goes. I watched that entire game. I think I turned that game on like halfway through the second quarter, early in the second quarter. I turned that game on. If you were a college football fan that had no idea who Bama was and no idea who FSU was and who the teams were supposed to be, right? FSU coming off a 2-10 season. I think they went 2-10-1 last year. Bama coming off a good, not as good as they have been, but good season last year. If you didn't know historically who those teams were and you were just watching that game, if you were an alien that just showed up and was like, I don't know who these teams are, there's no way that you thought Bama was any good.
Wow.
If it wasn't for luck, there were 2 or 3 plays in a row. There was a bad penalty. There was a strip sack that bounced right into the hands of one of the Bama players, and he was able to run it and get, some positive yards out of it. And there was one tip that was about 2 inches away from going into the defense's hands on Florida State. That guy would have easily ran back. I mean, he was on the absolute path to just run a pick six. I'm talking about an 80-yard return pick six.
Just telegraphed it, huh?
Dude, well, it was a tip. So ball over the middle, quarterback hit the receiver. He tips it up. But that dude, he was sprinting and it was just an inch out of but he was tracking it the whole way. He was at a full speed. There was no way anybody was tackling him. He was off to the races. But those 3 plays in a row, if those bounced any other way at that point in the game, it would have been 31-7 and it would have been not close. I think they end up winning 31-14 or 31-17 was the final score there. And it was not as close as it would indicate. Florida State ran that game. They got every first down that they needed to get. They made very few mistakes outside of a couple bad penalties. It was great. And to see Bama go down, my favorite part, it was all over Instagram as they start doing the thing where it's like 4 minutes left, 3 minutes left. SEC fans are the biggest poo-poo faces on the face of the planet. All these Chads with their pink freaking pop collared shirts and stuff. But they're starting to look at the crowd and finding like sad SEC fans. And there's this one white dude, and it's just, you see him and he's just like staring at the camera like this.
Just waiting for
and then the camera like tries to get off of him. It was all over Instagram. It was hilarious. He was just so mad about it. It was great.
Oh man.
Yeah, good day at college football. The Ohio State won. They are going to play cupcakes here and figure out their offense, and then we'll see. We'll see if they go to number 1 in the nation. They probably won't jump the number 2 over that, but it'll be close.
Yeah, it'll be 1, 2, or 3.
Well, no, they won't be 3. So they'll definitely be 2. I don't know how far Bama's going to fall or how far Texas is going to fall, but they didn't look good. They got questions with Arch Manning. So I don't know how far Texas is going to fall. I think Georgia is number 2 right now. So I think Georgia hops up to or whoever the number 2 team is at this point. And then Clemson at number 4, I believe they won last night. I'd have to check the scores. But I think it'll be whoever the number 2 is now. Let's call it Georgia. I don't care enough to look. So Georgia at 1, Ohio State at 2. I think Bama probably falls to 5. Clemson moves up to 3, and then we'll see how the rest shake out.
Here we go. College football's here. And then a week and a half until NFL.
NFL next week, baby. Let's go. I do want to show, now that we're talking about, I'm in a fantasy football league. We have a huge trophy. We do a lot of the rules in this league are absolutely ridiculous. So we have a trophy for the winner. We have loser punishments. We have wacky rules. We're a rookie flex keeper PPR league. The scoring is wacky. We have a bunch of rules because we've played together for so long. Well, I had to replace the loser trophy. So for a long time we had it was a penis. It was a golden penis. And then that got broken somehow. And it just said worse in fantasy football. It looked like a trophy. So it was like a gold dipped phallic item. Well, then we had that was broken through shipping or something one year. So we replaced it. And there was a fantasy football trophy. It's called the Golden Dickosaurus. Same sort of vibe, except they made it look like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Well, this year, because I wanted something that everybody took pride in, I went a little bit different, and I got this bad boy, which is the PSK League Loser Belt, and I lost the league last year. So this belt, as you see on it here, it's got our friend Peter for who the league is the name of. Yeah, but it's got next year is my year, and the league loser, and then we've got the dumpster fire. So picks don't matter. And then trades don't matter, which is like jokes from the thing. But we got this big belt. So anytime that there's league functions, the belt has to be present. You have to display it properly. So consider that.
As it should.
my display for being the loser of the fantasy football league. This year's my year, though. I feel it.
It's your year. It's going to happen.
Feel good.
All right, everybody. Appreciate you joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Check out onesrated.com. Get yourself a piece of merch. And then don't forget all the partners that we have. And we appreciate you being here.
Hell yeah. See you later.